The Legend of Zelda. Everyone has a favorite Zelda game. A Link to the Past, Ocarina, Majora, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, and there's probably even a few brave souls out there who are still defending Skyward Sword. And although I love all of these games, excluding Twilight Princess and Wind Waker since I never finished them, none of them are my favorite. My favorite is... there's a drum here somewhere... A Link Between Worlds, released in 2013 for the Nintendo 3DS. This game is interesting because it was sort of a remake and sort of a sequel to A Link to the Past, but at the same time, it's just kind of its own thing.
By the way, I streamed myself getting footage for this video at twitch.tv/someonetookgurk. You should really go check it out and stuff.
Okay. Let us begin. A Link to the Past had a pretty simple premise. Big man evil, green man hero, save big titty anime princess GF. And I'm not trying to knock the story, it's honestly not that important. It serves its job in the context of the game, which is to give Link the call to action. Now, I won't lie and say that A Link Between Worlds comes close to rivaling the stories of games like The Last of Us or God of War, but it sure is a step up from
Big man evil, green man hero, save big titty anime princess GF.
First off, Link is actually given a personality here. The first scene we see of him, he's oversleeping and has to be woken up by Gully, this little shit. People tell him how he needs to stop being so lazy, how he'll never be a blacksmith if he can't get up at the crack of dawn. They didn't need to do that, but they did, and I like it. There's Yuga, the new villain who's obsessed with turning Zelda and the rest of the Seven Sages into paintings and reviving the Demon King. You have Hilda, the big titty goth GF version of Zelda and the Princess of Lorule. Oh, hey, and watch this. Okay, we may continue. Hilda is a helpful guide to you in rescuing the Seven Sages and finding the Triforce, and you grow to like her as you play through the game. There's also Ravio, but we're going to be talking about him later. And while none of these characters break any records in how they're written, they make everything that's happening around you more interesting. They feel like people with actual traits, unlike in A Link to the Past where... Now, we're going to come back to the story and characters a little bit later in the video, but that's when we're going to start talking about spoilers, so for now, let's move on to gameplay. A Link to the Past was a game that contained elements of both linearity and that open world sort of feel. But A Link Between Worlds looks at all the linear parts of A Link to the Past and just says, heh, cute. This game's progression system is entirely non-linear. As soon as you finish the first two dungeons, which you're allowed to tackle in whatever order you so wish, get the Master Sword, enter Lorule, you have access to every dungeon in the game. Do you want to go to the Swamp Palace first? Or maybe Turtle Rock? Guess what? You can. And this idea of an open progression system isn't just seen in how you're allowed to tackle the dungeons, but also in how you receive items. Items are a staple of every Zelda game. Even when a Zelda game isn't really a Zelda game, it still has items. Ugh. But A Link Between Worlds takes a different approach. Traditionally, you find a chest in a dungeon, open it, bam, new item. A Link Between Worlds threw that shit out the window. You remember Ravio? Yeah, we're talking about him again. Ravio is the guy in a purple bunny suit. He finds you right after you first meet Yuga and he kicks your shit in. He then begs you to let him stay in your house, and once you're forced to say yes, he never pays rent. Little shit. But Ravio isn't just a rent-dodging degenerate. He's also the way you get items throughout the game. Instead of the whole find a chest in the dungeon thing, Ravio will now let you rent and later buy every item in the game. Let me just tell you why this is so fucking cool. This, paired with the ability to choose the order in which you tackle the dungeons, lends itself perfectly for the open world feel that this game is attempting to capture. You can now choose what items you want and when you want them, and every item is useful in more ways than just its intended dungeon use. Take the Tornado Rod. This is the required item for the House of Gales. No way getting around it, you need the Tornado Rod for this dungeon. But later in the game, once I made it into the Thieves' Hideout, I was still using it constantly. This is because in the Thieves' Hideout, you need to protect this thief girl through the whole dungeon. A lot of times, enemies spawn around you in a circle, making it difficult to defend the thief girl from all of them at once, but hey, flashback time. The Tornado Rod creates a big, well, tornado around you when you use it. I wonder... Damn, that felt cool to figure out. The game rewards you for using your items in ways other than just its intended dungeon use. And that's so fucking cool. And that's not even the only example. It happened again later in the game when I was in the Swamp Palace. The big key was in this big chest surrounded by fire. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to change the water level or something to put the fire out? I don't know. But I still had the Tornado Rod on me, and flashback again, the House of Gales taught me that the Tornado Rod can put out fires.
I am a god among you mere mortals.
Dude, there is so much cool shit to talk about in this game, I haven't even gotten to the main gimmick yet. At the end of the dungeon I was talking about earlier, the House of Gales, Yuga turns Link into a painting. Kinda looks like you're fucked, huh? Well, guess what? A little bit earlier, Ravio gave you this little bracelet thing, and that little bracelet apparently lets you fuse and unfuse from walls at will. I still want my rent money, you little shit. This makes you completely rethink how you can explore the world, what can and can't be used as a platform, what is and isn't even a fucking wall. Thought that was a wall? Guess what? Nope, not at all. You can just slide straight through that shit. This makes exploration so much fun. Now, there's a whole new means of traversal to consider when you want to get to a new area or you're solving a puzzle in a dungeon. And the dungeons from A Link to the Past have been reworked so this new gimmick... No, I'm not even calling it a gimmick. Calling it a gimmick doesn't do it justice. This is just a new mechanic. The old dungeons have been reworked so that this new mechanic is completely at home. It's done so well that merging and unmerging with the wall becomes second nature as a means of getting around. It's just so cool! Okay. We're done with gameplay. I could keep talking about this for hours, but this video kind of has a time limit. We're going back to the story, and this time we're going to be getting into spoilers, so if you don't want that, just skip to whatever time I decided to put on screen. So, we learned that long ago, the Triforce of Lorule was destroyed in order to keep the citizens from fighting over the power that the Triforce held. Sadly, this had a pretty negative side effect. The lack of a Triforce in Lorule kinda just caused the entire kingdom to, well, break. And I'm not trying to be all metaphorical here, there are literally fissures everywhere in the kingdom. When we finally manage to save all 7 sages, we've proven ourselves worthy and we get the Triforce of Courage. Now, there's only one thing left to do. Save Zelda. Wait, why is she in Lorule Castle with Hilda? Wait a minute. Oh shit! Hilda is evil! Yeah, turns out that Hilda was just playing you. She only ever wanted to steal Hyrule's Triforce to save her kingdom. No, my big titty goth GF. How could you? Hilda orders Yuga, who merged with Ganon, to become
Ganon, but now with dreads.
To attack you. You defeat Yuga Ganon, but Hilda refuses to give up, and then... Ravio? The fuck are you doing here? Wait. Oh shit! Ravio was actually Lorule's equivalent of Link, but the difference is that Ravio was a coward who failed to save Lorule. Ravio pleads and begs the princess that destroying Hyrule by taking their Triforce to save Lorule just isn't worth it. If they take the Triforce away from Hyrule, then Hyrule will be destroyed just like Lorule. Thank God Ravio gets Hilda to come to her senses, because I don't think I would have had it in me to beat up my big titty goth GF. She let Zelda go, and her and Link return to Hyrule. Sadly, without a Triforce to keep the world, well, together, Lorule is destined to perish. But wait, there is still a Triforce in Hyrule. And as we all know, if you touch the Triforce, any wish is granted? Wait, really? You can do that? Go figure, you can do that. That's something new every day. But yeah, of course, Zelda and Link wish for the return of Lorule's Triforce. Which means that Lorule is now no longer going to, well, implode on itself. Alright. All wrapped up. And I gotta say, playing this game again, I still fucking love it. This is seriously one of my favorite video games. At this point, I don't really think there's much else for me to say. The non-linear progression is satisfying as all hell. The story, while not setting any records, is fun and created some of my favorite characters in the series. And above all else, it's just fun. If you can, pick this game up. I think it's worth your time. 8 out of 10. Would Zelda again. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congrats. Now you can say you listened to some guy talk about Zelda for like, well, I don't really know how long this video is, so. I hope you like this new type of video where I just sort of do a game review with animated portions, because I enjoyed making it. And if you did like it, make sure to subscribe. I like when people do that. Also, expect more videos like this down the line. It was really fun to just talk about one of my favorite video games. Alright, have a good day. Love you. Bye!